Hey, what's up everyone? Gaming Mom 82 here, and on today's video we're going to be going over the Year 5 Season 4.3 designer notes that Ubisoft just released. We're going to figure out who got nerfed, who got buffed, all the in between. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now if we follow the link from Ubisoft, we're going to come across first the win delta for operators versus their presence. One thing I think is worth noting that all of this data is collected from ranked games, only on PC, from platinum and above players. So this doesn't involve play from consoles and anyone below plat. Just wanted to note that. Now, if you've never seen this graph before, I'm just gonna briefly go over how it works. You have a horizontal line and you have a vertical line. So every operator that you see that is to the right of the vertical line is an overpicked operator, where everybody to the left of the vertical line isn't picked as much. So in this case, you have Blackbeard and Nomad and Ace. They are picked a lot, where Ayana and Gridlock, for instance, they're not picked as much. Now, when it comes to the horizontal line though, everybody below that line has a low win rate. So when the operator is picked, they don't win as much. And if you're above that horizontal line, those operators tend to win more. So they have it set up here where they say overpicked too strong, overpicked too weak, and vice versa for underpicked. But that's kind of how they gauge it. And I think from everything that I've known about this graph, the most balanced operators are obviously the ones that are in the middle between the horizontal and the vertical line. So that's how these graphs work, briefly anyways. Now, even though I find these graphs really intriguing, I am going to just kind of flip through them so we can get to the meat and potatoes of what's actually being changed. But I will, again, have a link in the description for this so you guys can check it out for yourselves. So moving on, the first operator on the list that's going to see a change is Ashe. So her breaching round explosive damage is going to go from 3.5 meters to 2. So she'll still be able to get bandit charges as normal, but where before she could shoot it and get kaids because it was such a big explosion, she's now going to have to get a little bit more creative. So overall, I would say definitely a nerf to Ashe. Now next on the list is going to be Buck. So the biggest changes for him is that he's losing his claymore and he is getting a hard breach instead. So I don't know. I personally really love my claymores, so this hurts me a little bit, but I see where they're coming from. And overall, I'm gonna have to give a buff to Buck for the fact that he's getting more ammo in a shotgun, and that's awesome. More ammo is always a good thing. Next up, we're gonna have Echo, and his drone cooldown is gonna go from 3 seconds to 2. And then the animation for when the yokai will stick to the ceiling and fall is going from 2 seconds to 0.5. And his sonic burst cooldown is going from 20 seconds to 16 seconds. So overall, they're hoping that it's just a more streamlined, a reactive experience for the player. And I would definitely say that this would count as a buff. Now next up we have Ella, and she is getting her resistance to concussion effects removed. And she's also losing her extra mine that will go off if she was down but not out. So overall, definitely consider this a nerf to Ella. Now the next operator on this list is one of the ones that I think her changes are being talked about a lot, and that's Callie. What is happening with her sniper rifle, and as it sits right now, is if you shoot somebody, if you hit him in the chest or any body wise, it's going to put him in a down but not out state. So they're removing that from Callie. And what they are doing is they're setting it to 122 damage. So what this means is one body shot will kill a 3-speed operator, that's pretty big change there. A 1 body shot to a 2-speed operator will down them, and a body shot to a 1-speed operator will actually just damage them. It won't put them in the down but not out state. So those are definitely big changes to Callie. And I think overall, most people are saying this is a buff, but I'm kind of on the fence a little bit. Maybe because I was just in a game the other day and I happened to hit a dock and he fell, and that was really good for me. And otherwise, that probably wouldn't have been the case. Either way, it's considered a buff from what I gather from the community. I'm still on the fence to see how that plays out. Okay, so next up, we're gonna have Legion. Yeah, there's no way around this. It's a nerf. He's losing his 1.5 scope. He's very popular and he's a very powerful operator. So I think they're trying to bring his pick rate down. So in doing that, he's losing his scope on his T5. Moving on, we have Lion, and really he was just a swap off with Buck. And that's the way I kind of look at it. I don't know if this is a nerf or a buff. He lost his hard breaches and he got a claymore. So yeah, I'll just leave him in the weird state, as I don't really know how much this will change the meta at all. Now on to Melusi. Now she only had one small change done, but that small change is definitely considered a nerf. They removed her angle grip from the MP5. That might not sound like much, but when it came to the pros and the ranks and the really good players, they knew how to utilize that. So she gets banned a lot, so hopefully her, that prevents that from happening. She can be used more or picked less, whichever one. Either way, she lost her angle grip. Now we'll be moving on to the lovely Mira, where much like Legion, she is getting a nerf. She's losing her 1.5 scope on her vector, and they're just trying to get her ban rates to actually, come down, because she is banned quite a bit. So hopefully this helps. And now on to a highly debated change, and this is going to be to Sophia. She, like her sister, is losing her concussion effects, but the big thing is she's losing her withstand. So a lot of people have been talking about this. There's been things going on in the community about removing it for a while. So either way, it is finally happening. And she's also getting her grenade explosive damage range reduced as well. So definitely all the way around, Sophia is getting a big fat nerf. Okay, so I've gotten some questions and people seem to be confused for this one. I'm going to be going over the ballistic shields. And they said they removed the camera penalization during the guard break animation. So what does that actually mean? I don't know why they call it camera penalization, but what that's saying is it's your sensitivity on being able to move while the guard break animation is going. So, and the guard break animation is when you hit the shield and they have that animation where you push back a bit. That's what they mean by that. Either way, this is definitely a buff for the shield operators. So they're going to have a lot more versatility when this is happening. So if you know somebody or go against people that are good with shields, yeah, they're going to be a little bit scary. Okay, so moving on to the hard breach charges. I'm going to touch on it really quickly, not too much here. They're just going to be more streamlined and they're going to be quicker. So their deployment time's quicker and the activation time is quicker. So bada boom, bada bing there. And what I'm really excited about, because I'm a console player, this next one is the recoil. Granted, it's only on a certain amount of guns, but the fact that they are taking into account of controllers and recoil, I'm pretty excited about this one. So I consider this a buff for me. And last but not least is the world balancing, the pre-reinforcement hatches. So for all of us that have not been into the test servers at all, it really isn't going to affect us. They're just letting us know that they were thinking about having hatches on roofs already pre-reinforced, and they tested this and they decided they're not going to do it. It's just not going to work out right now. So that's in a nutshell what's going on here. So with that being said, that is the brief rundown on all of the designer notes for Year 5 Season 4.3. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think something is not going to work, or is it going to work? I know for me personally, I think this is a really, overall, a nice patch. I can't complain about anything really. I'm sure you can nitpick things, but overall, I have no complaints over this patch. I think it's pretty good. So, but again, let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. And until the next time, you guys have a fabulous day.